Hey everybody, we're going to be looking at solving quadratics by factoring. So this is a good review for some of the stuff we're getting ready to go into. And I have some different variations in here so you can get used to seeing some different stuff. So just as we go through this solving quadratics by factoring, we need to make sure that we are able to set an equation equal to zero. Okay, so we're going to take that negative 48. We're going to add it over to the other side and get rid of it. So I'm going to add that 48 over here. And when I do that, that's going to leave me with x squared minus 14x plus 48. And that is equal to 0 now. All right, so from here, we're going to go ahead and use that area model that we've been practicing so often. In class, I'm going to draw the box and I'm going to start filling it in with all of its pieces. So I'm going to bring x squared here. I'm going to bring 48 here. And then on the diagonal, I'm going to bring negative 14x. Remember that the diagonal pieces that go in there have to add to negative 14x. So that's what we're going to be working with. So let's go ahead and start making our list. I'm going to find numbers that multiply to 48, and you can use Desmos to kind of start guessing some of those numbers, or you can just start going. I like to start at 1, and then I build up. I know 2 times 24 is 48. I know 3 times 16 is 48. I know 4 times 12 is 48. I know 6 times 8 is 48. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the list, and I'm going to say, well, which one's going to give me that 14? I know it's a negative 14, but I'm not worried about that right now. So I know that 1 and 48 is not going to get me a 14. I know 2 plus 24 can't give me a 14. I know 3 and 16 is not going to give me a 14. I know 4 and 12 could give me 16, or it could give me 8, depending on what I do, add or subtract them. And then I know 6 plus 8 could get me a 14. As long as, so I need to get that to be a negative 14. I could do that as long as the 6 is negative and the 8 is negative. So let's look at that. So negative 6 plus negative 8 is negative 14. Negative 6 times negative 8 is 48. So those would be our values that work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to plug that in. I'm going to say negative 6x. I'm going to say negative 8x. And then we're going to continue our factoring. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. X times negative 8 is negative 8x. And we know negative 8 times negative 6 is 48. So that is fully factored. Once we have it factored, I'm just going to simply put it in as x minus 8. We've changed its form to factored form, x minus 8 times x minus 6 equals to 0. Now, what we want to do at this point, if you remember to previous lessons, because this is a review, is we want to make this equal to 0. So our question is, what x value will make each binomial equal to 0? Okay, and so I'm going to ask myself, what x value will make each binomial equal to 0? Well, let's do this. I know that if I put a negative positive 8 right here, 8 minus 8 will give me 0. So that means one of our answers would be x equals a positive 8. And I know if I put a 6 right here, 6 minus 6 will give me a 0. So I'm going to say one of the answers must also be equal to 6. So I'm going to say x equals 8 and x equals 6. Now, one thing we do want to do is check our work, of course. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to plug it in. I'm going to give it a name, each side a name. G of x equals to x squared minus 14x. And then I'll give the other side a name, which was negative 48. Maybe call that one like h of x or something fancy like that. Put negative 48. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and look for that intersection, and you'll notice, check it out. There's an intersection right there at 6, and there's an intersection there at 8. And that tells us that we have done this correct by factoring. All right, y'all, hope that helps you out. Good luck.